from what you've heard over the years, tell me what you know about the night of October 31st, 2009, when this happened to Tom. Tell us about the circumstances leading up to it and what happened afterwards.
As far as what I've heard, that Tom was met a friend at the brewery at Maitland, and so they went there for a bit of a chit-chat and a drink, and they got caught up in the conversation and ended up about 3 o'clock in the morning, and they departed, and Tom was making his way home to his house in Church Street, and he just saw two fellas having an altercation on the street, and Tom has always been told not to fight or brawls and things like that. So he thought he would do the right thing and try to stop these young ones from getting hurt. And has it been said through the courts that Tom actually intervened through a very vicious fight where either one wasn't aware of someone else being there, and Tom just got collected. So after that he dropped to the ground. He started to bleed out because that fight went on for about 20 minutes, and then they rang for the ambulance, and they come to Tom, and the police come, and Beau Lawton apparently had left the scene and he had to be chased after.
So what injuries did he sustain that night?
Well, Tom received a brain injury through the back part of his head was crushed from when he took the fall to the concrete. Massive bleeding, so that caused altercations within the brain. The centres that were knocked about was his mobility, so all his mobility's shot now. It's like a computer that's been smashed and can't be repaired. Yeah, and he had to, from there he was taken to Maitland. From Maitland he was taken to Newcastle, and then from Newcastle they went and proceeded on to taking his crown off because the massive amount of fluid building up on the brain.
So at the time, do you know when Tom fell back, he obviously hit concrete, but was it just the pavement or was it a curb? Do you know that sort of detail of what he actually hit when he fell?
I think there was a slight curve on the area where it was, so Tom's head sort of took a really hard blow, because you imagine a 6'1" man, quite solid, coming straight back with no sense that he needed to protect himself, so it means that he was unconscious before he actually fell back. So that in that light, he took it hard.
And I read that the offender was actually a trainee boxer, so he obviously knew what he was doing.
Yes, to like what we have heard through the courts and things, that he has done some boxing in his life. He used to do a little bit of that probably in his earlier years for helping them to fill in time and things. Yes.
I know that this is a difficult question because there's a lot to talk about, but compared to Tom's old life, how have things changed, and what's the impact been on your family and also on his?
Well, first we'll go to Tom, because I think he's the main issue here, that Tom's life died. We lost a son, and we were inherited a new son with a lot of disabilities. So from there you see their whole life shattered. So it comes down to a man that worked, he was a workaholic, to a man that can't work and put input into society. That really hurts him. A man that used to socialise a lot, now nobody wants to socialise with him. A chair is a major factor in a person's life, where people look at a chair and they can't get over that barrier of a chair. So Tom's lost his friends through that. His daughters, he's got 2 beautiful daughters and a stepdaughter, Tian, Juanita and Savannah, and they have been so traumatised through this whole thing that they've lost a dad that they had a lot to do with, and now they don't have, they don't come as much because they're still trying to cope with what's happened. And then for us, well, it threw our life into a whirl, because we've had 2.5 years previous to this now where we've been back and forwards to hospitals daily, and now from November last year we moved into the house. We took a month to settle in. Tom come home in December. And from here, our life's just dramatically changed. We don't have a private home. It's occupied by women coming in at 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening to shower Tom, so your home is a social home. You have to be set to schedules all the time, so Tom can have his personal care. And we have to be selective where we go because the chair doesn't always fit. So it means that we have short little outings rather than say, look, we just go out for the day and have a nice time and forget about time. Time is always the essence with us. And we wish there's just more places that wheelchairs could get into and be viable too.
I think one of the main messages has been that Tom was trying to help, and he was trying to stop this fight, and that he was being a good Samaritan. Without going on too much about the sentencing, are you concerned that because what's happened to him, people are going to think, I'm not going to help next time if they're in a similar situation, and that people won't try and stop these sorts of things happening?
Well, that is a hard question, because my first initiative after seeing the impact of it would be to say, don't go there. But then, you know, if you've got an old person getting belted by somebody, a defenceless person, you couldn't stand by and allow that. But if you've got active young people that want to go out and do this sort of thing, have a brawl in the street, and haven't got the common sense to walk away from it, don't go there, because your life means more to you than that brawl that they're having.
Do you think that there's too much violence on television, on the football field, movies? Do you think that that's part of the problem, that these young boys are seeing these sorts of king hits and fights, and that's part of the problem, why they're doing it? Definitely.
That you just think that everywhere you look today, it's sort of glorified. Like back when we were children, the amount of violence was so small, but now you've got, it's out on everything, like you say, the news, on all the pictures, and the young ones just look at it and they think it's natural to fight. So I think it's got to go back to the root of things, where we need to edit what we're feeding the community and realise these young brains absorbing this, and we're going to be getting that back in the future.
What would you say to young men out there about the impact a single punch can have, about possible offenders that, you know, who might do this down the track?
Well, I hope through this interview that they will see that that one punch will change their life, not only the victim but their life. Now, I think of the case that a young fella that's hit Tom. Now he has to go into prison, even though it was only a sentence, very short, and we're not happy in regards to the equation of what my son's lost to what he's doing. But he's faced into a very violent world going into prison. So I wouldn't like my son to be there. So, you know, it's two worst scenarios really, one in jail and one's left completely disabled for the rest of their life. So, you know, no, it's, you know, one punch can change so much. Think before you do it.